Xbox has come a really long way since they first announced the original console to take on PlayStation, and now it's time for you to follow Gameranx on a little trip through the evolution of graphics on Xbox. In 2001, the console shooter had not gone beyond Perfect Dark, which if you really want to get into it, hadn't actually gone beyond GoldenEye. That's what people were still playing, and there was nothing wrong with that. It's just that it was about to get blown away. When this bastard woke up out of stasis, people were like, what is this? Pardon the bad pun, but the original Halo threw everyone for a loop with its visuals, the character models, the high polygon level design for its time. With Halo, the Xbox exploded onto the scene. Just stuff that you had never seen in a console game, and here it was on your TV. That same year, another shooter came out called Max Payne. I don't think people acknowledge Max Payne's graphics influence on graphics in general. It was a much grittier looking title. Something that had been attempted before, yes, but really nothing that ever felt this much like a Tarantino film as a game. The color palette, the animations, the fact that it seems like you could literally wipe the dirt off the walls in the subway. It felt like Fight Club or Pulp Fiction, but you were the star. And yeah, it was multi-platform, but the Xbox version destroyed the PlayStation version, which is also the case with most games in all honesty. 2002's Need for Speed Hot Pursuit 2 really was a visual treat on Xbox. I'm not saying these games didn't look great and play great on PlayStation 2, but they sure looked better on Xbox. Need for Speed Hot Pursuit 2 is an absolute perfect example of this. A lot of people were critical at the time of Xbox's kind of off-the-shelf nature, but in all honesty it produced better results graphically. Racing games are often the pinnacle of graphics on systems, and this was not an exception. Where GoldenEye was a defining shooter of the previous generation, TimeSplitters 2 is most certainly one of the next. Created by former Rare employees, TimeSplitters 2 is such a strange game, but if you're familiar with how enjoyable GoldenEye is, imagine that with much higher poly counts and running much smoother. In all seriousness, the graphical upgrade between Perfect Dark and TimeSplitters, and then to TimeSplitters 2, moved a lot of players to a new generation, and the definitive version of it is definitely on the original Xbox. When more powerful next generation consoles forced the Dreamcast out of the race, there was only one place you could play the incredible and gorgeous game Shenmue 2 in North America, and that was on the Xbox. Shenmue's scope alone is very impressive, but the amount of detail that they were able to commit to the graphics is basically part of what defined open world gaming today. You'll hear a lot of different opinions on the sequel to Shenmue, but really, this is one of those games that changed what developers thought about games, especially graphically. Ah, memories. A genre that was really beginning to mature, thanks to games like Metal Gear Solid, was the stealth game. Tom Clancy's Splinter Cell was a complex take on the genre, and in order to stand up as such, it really needed good graphics. And oh, did it. This was the first console game I looked at a fire in and I went, wow, that actually looks really good. And another thing they took very seriously because it played into the gameplay mechanics was the lighting. And it was gorgeous. Really a good example. And something people would draw on later. Calibur II is one of those games where they really go all out on the character models. Some physics are exaggerated, obviously, but generally the detail put into the people of Calibur is really impressive. Now I know everybody out there isn't going to agree 100% exactly on the content of this game, but can we just take a moment to appreciate how technically advanced this looks for 2003? Honestly, character models wouldn't rival the detail in the character models of this game for probably another 5 years. And look at how smooth it runs on the Xbox. Seriously, smooth as a baby's behind. Another game that wouldn't be rivaled for years, especially within its own genre, is Project Gotham Racing 2. I mean, look at the environments in this game and tell me it doesn't look better by a significant amount than a lot of games that came out years after this. Add in the fact that the car models are great. The night driving effects were amazing. It was a game that was really pushing the Xbox hardware early on, which its sequels would continue to do. But if cars weren't really your thing and ninjas were, Ninja Gaiden was a really good example of something that just looked cool. Now Ninja Gaiden's environments were pretty detailed and its character models were even more so. But what really shined in Ninja Gaiden was its animation. The fluidity that the moves were all executed with was just unparalleled. It was fast, but never hiding anything. And because of that, when Ninja Gaiden got lethal, it felt lethal. This game is a huge argument for why fluid motion is an incredibly important component when you're talking about cutting-edge graphics. Something people forget to talk about when running through games with great graphics is often licensed games, and Chronicles of Riddick on the Xbox is a fine example of this. This was a game where when you saw the main character, you thought, wow, that's the main character of the movie. This is Vin Diesel. And whatever your opinion on him, that's not really something that was possible in previous generations, either because it took sprites to represent your in-game avatar, or just that games had such low poly counts that it really wasn't something you could ask of people to go, yeah, that's Vin Diesel. And that's a major accomplishment when you think about it. In Burnout 3 Takedown, I wanted to highlight something that I did with Kingdom Hearts in the PlayStation version of this video, that a game doesn't have to be realistic to have great graphics. Honestly, does Burnout have realistic graphics? No. It has cool graphics. And whether it be cartoony, or cool, or flat out incredible and realistic, stylistic choices are not something that make me discount hard work into making something that is visually interesting and enjoyable. Burnout 3 was something different entirely from a bunch of racers trying very hard to look like real life. Thankfully, so was Halo 2. Halo 2 didn't just progress the story of Master Chief taking on the Covenant, but it progressed the style as well. Halo 2, in my opinion, is significantly more stylized than Halo 1. It relies a lot more on a defined art style. And while there is a massive jump in the quality of the graphics, I would argue that their stylistic choices made more difference. It built on the first Halo's graphics in every single way, and the environments started feeling like Halo environments rather than shooter environments. And this is 100% a visual thing. 2005 came along and so did widescreen. Brothers in Arms, Road to Hill 30, said, you know what? Let's make this start feeling more cinematic. Let's embrace 16:9. And while it wasn't by any means the first widescreen game, it certainly did make good use of it, in a way that a lot of games really weren't making good use of it. A shooter needs peripheral vision, and 4.3 just includes no peripheral vision whatsoever. I would argue that a widescreen view is much closer to our view as human beings, and for something that requires precision targeting, that's important. It also brought the first game in the Forza Motorsport series, which, by the way, is probably the reigning champ in graphics on Xbox One. As you can see, it pretty much made its start that way too. Forza Motorsport managed to capture the sort of beautiful sights of a lot of different environmental things. Forza also did a great job of experimenting with visual indicators, as you can see with the path here on screen right now. A lot of people forget that that is an important component when discussing graphics, how they assist you as a player. In 2005, Doom 3 showed us exactly the type of progression we are talking about here. Doom was a massive title a very long time before Doom 3 came out on the Xbox. Doom was part of the movement of games that made 3D graphics mainstream, and the series itself has always really been on the cutting edge of graphics. Doom 3 was no exception. When you boot this game up on your Xbox, you're like, wow, this could probably be an Xbox 360 game, albeit an early one, but still. It is an impressive title, very pretty, although very bleak. While Doom worked with a pretty limited palette, essentially allowing a lot of its detail, with clever stylistic tricks, 2005's port of Half-Life 2 did not rely on this type of technique at all. Half-Life 2 did not leave things to the imagination. It set you in daytime environments that showed off everything that Valve wanted to. The physics puzzles were a real highlight of the game, and the fact that the Xbox was able to handle a game that had been lauded on the PC, even in the end of its life cycle, was quite the testament to the type of system that Microsoft built. In 2006, the Xbox 360 burst onto the scene with Gears of War as one of its flagship titles. Gears of War was cinematic in a way that not too many games had been previously, especially shooter games, and was a welcome addition to Microsoft's first-party lineup as well. Gears of War brought some much more real-time effects, including some things that looked a lot more organic, such as reflections and bug eyes and stuff like that. On top of that, we finally saw bump maps in a console game, much more advanced lighting and much better gun and fire effects. To be honest, this game stands up now. 2006 also dropped a sandbox bomb with Just Cause. Not only was this game open world, but it was, if you can dream it, you can do it type stuff. And one of the biggest challenges for a game like that is to make visuals that accompany the gameplay and make it feel natural and enjoyable. Just Cause's map was huge and colorful and really just rich with detail and options and things that just really shaped where we've gone with graphics today. For For people who owned the original Xbox, this was a good reason to upgrade, as was what many considered to be the main event, 2007's Halo 3. The jump between GoldenEye and Halo is the same jump between Halo 2 and Halo 3. Halo 3 was the definitive Halo, at very least graphically speaking. Bungie did some interesting things like high dynamic range and using various mapping techniques to give surfaces more detail. That kind of thing really improves the believability of the environment around you. And Halo 3 remains one of the most technically astounding games of the entire generation. Another gorgeous example of that. Now, Mass Effect just came out of nowhere. People knew BioWare from the Knights of the Old Republic games, but we didn't know that they were capable of this. BioWare is extremely deep into their worlds and characters and use graphics in order to create an atmosphere that puts you in the shoes of these people. The work that they did visually is really something that I credit this game as having sucked me in the way that it did. The people, the expressions, just everything going on, the living, breathing worlds. It's awesome. Another major upgrade in graphics that year was Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare. Modern Warfare brought us into the present, which the series really hadn't done a whole lot of, and incorporated weather effects, lighting effects, and just general particle stuff that hadn't been seen a whole lot before. On top of that, as far as style and cinematography, was actually pretty comparable to a film. The people in charge of it were a lot more capable than I think a lot of people are willing to admit. And it evolved from there. Really cool things happen in Grand Theft Auto 4. Huge worlds are what Grand Theft Auto is known for, and Grand Theft Auto 4 gave us exactly that. Except for something massive happened in Grand Theft Auto 4. We got the most realized world of any Grand Theft Auto, up until that point. Before this game, Grand Theft Auto kind of relied on voice acting and characters in order to sort of legitimize its environments. In 4, the city is as much a character as any of them, which is fitting because almost every movie featuring New York City acknowledges the city itself as a character. In 2008, Dead Space happened, and Dead Space is an incredibly claustrophobic, completely different experience from Grand Theft Auto 4, but it also showed us some of the most gruesome monsters and most that had ever been thought up, the Necromorphs. The absolutely inspired representation of these monsters is what carries the game, and the dark mood that's created through some spectacular lighting really does everything in the way of making Dead Space into this kind of experience of a game that everybody really should at least try. I mean, unless you hate good games. In 2009, Batman Arkham Asylum came out and just pushed the envelope of the graphics on every platform that it came out for. Part open world, part claustrophobic, the art direction and technical execution of Batman Arkham Asylum puts it in a class of its own. Truly, it's an Xbox game that stands up today. Honestly, you can go back and play this game and go, this doesn't look like an old game. But in reality, this game is now 6 years old. It's from a different console generation. I mean, if that doesn't impress you, I don't really know how to impress you. One of the most boundary pushing in terms of art direction games I have ever seen in my life is Bayonetta. When you're talking about graphics, if you do not bring Bayonetta up, you are doing a severe disservice to any argument you're attempting to make. And it's not because this is a realistic looking game in the least. It is not. What it is, however, is an extremely stylized, unique world presented in the most insane possible way. Ruins and cities and dragons and hair, magic effects, weapons. I've never seen a game that looks like this, and that is the highest praise I can give it. Another amazing import from Japan is Final Fantasy XIII. You may have a different opinion on the gameplay than the graphics, but you really can't deny that this game looks better than almost any other title of the generation. Just in environment design alone, this is one of the most unique looking sci-fi but fantasy titles I can think of across all mediums, not just on the Xbox. In TV, film, in art of all sorts, Final Fantasy XIII is incredibly unique looking and just shines in a way graphically that a lot of people really wish it did in its story. Call of Duty Black Ops broke Call of Duty tradition in more ways than one. Black Ops by nature has a more secret type feeling to it, and it's reflected in the graphics, but a lot of people aren't really that willing to notice it. Call of Duty gets a lot of flack for being the big generic shooter series, But in reality, a lot of the art direction in these games is pretty darn good, and their influence is really felt everywhere in gaming, not just in shooters. Through some great art direction, Call of Duty has really helped make the massive set piece a mainstay in most modern games. In 2010, Just Cause 2 came out, and I'm not going to say anything about the story because it wouldn't be nice. And this isn't really about critiquing games. This is about demonstrating the absolute best graphics from the various Xbox generations and showing how it evolves. Just Cause is a fantastic example. If you rewind the video to the first Just Cause and compare the graphics between these two games, it's night and day. Just Cause 2 is a gorgeous game. Not saying the first one isn't, but holy crap, the difference. In 2011, Batman Arkham City took Batman out of the claustrophobic asylum and put him into a city that was ready to kill him at every turn. The stakes were so much higher, the environments were so much bigger, and the characters were so much more detailed. Batman Arkham City introduced a much more visually complex world and asked you to use the environment a lot more. And when the graphics match up with that request, it's very satisfying. Not to mention the amazing evolution in character animation. Forgive me for running through sequels here, but really the best way to show evolution is to compare similar things. Gears of War 3 improved on the Gears of War franchise in every imaginable way. The environments were huge, the enemies bigger than ever, badder than ever, scarier than ever. This wasn't because the art direction got less good or the Xbox 360 got less powerful. Developers were just really unlocking the potential of this machine. I mean, look at the animation and detail on that monster. Mass Effect 3 was just ridiculous. Everything about it, and I mean that in the best possible way. All the improvements on the lighting, facial animation, expression, weapon effects, environments, nothing didn't get better. All three of these games were just beautiful, and they just kept getting better. And by the third game, both stylistically and technically, these were just the most amazing looking games. I mean, I don't think I can possibly sing the praises of this franchise enough. It showed so much improvement over just 3 games that you would think that they were making them since the 90s. 3 generations and 4 games later, Halo is going strong. The developer changed, but the game has not lost its charm. Beautiful environments, beautiful effects, high polygon, everything. These games show the evolution of Microsoft's consoles in a way that's actually somewhat strangely perfect. They function as both a tech demo and as a Game of the Year candidate, and continually show us what Microsoft is capable of pulling out of their hat. And again, there's some controversy really as to how much people enjoy this game, but it's gorgeous. And so is Grand Theft Auto 5. Now, I talked about how great Grand Theft Auto 4 is and how alive the world is, but it was just a warm-up to Grand Theft Auto 5. This game is like 20 movies in one. Grand Theft Auto 5 is like Game of Thrones for people who like open-world carnage. The characters are strong. The car driving is strong. Everything is really strong in this game. And it's all built on a foundation of fantastic graphics. That Wanted level is that fun because it looks like this. What did I say about Forza before? Was that it was kind of the premier racing series as far as graphics go? Oh yeah, have a look at that. I mean, seriously, have a look at that. I dare you to name a better looking game than Forza 5 on the Xbox One. Everything looks like a photo in this game. And not just because it's realistic. It's pretty. You would send almost any screenshot from this game on a postcard to your relatives. Wish you were here, playing Forza 5 with me. God, the environments and their effects are just amazing. Another game that came out swinging right out of the gate was Ryse, Son of Rome, using the CryEngine 3. I mean, look at it. It's so amazing. The armor reflections, the individual furs on the top of the Roman helmets, the environment effects. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, this game is somewhat repetitive, and it's not the most amazing thing you'll ever play, but holy crap, it is so cinematic and pretty and just enjoyable to look at. If you appreciate the visual art of video games, Ryse is still worth playing. After a lot of deliberating, BioWare moved Dragon Age over to the Frostbite engine, and after looking at it for about 5 seconds, you can tell exactly why they did it. It's one of the best looking games out there right now. All of this crap is real time. The environments are so fantastical and surreal and strange and interesting, while the effects just blow your mind. They're always exploding in some weird way. It's like a moving painting by somebody who just has this strange concept of what could be if all things could be. All style. all style. Another game with some very, very pretty graphics is Destiny from 2014. Bungie moved on from Halo to try to create their own IPs. Destiny shows off a style that Halo maybe doesn't entirely show off. Don't get me wrong, they developed their style a great deal while they were creating Halo, but Destiny seems like such a fleshed out version of that Bungie style, with so much color and variance in environment, just beautiful. Monsters looking all different, with so much texture in all places. The Xbox One is really a home for great graphics, and The Witcher 3 is another perfect example of that. The Witcher 3 really feels like running around in a big open world painting. In truth, there's not really that much variety in environment, but the way the environment shifts its own presentation and weather and different times of day just shows an absolute mastery over the idea of visual art. And in an era where hardware is starting to become irrelevant, being incredibly skilled at creating something that looks unique is how you win. Oh, and The Witcher 3 wins. 2015's Batman Arkham Knight works as a perfect culmination to what the Batman Arkham series was building towards. This game is massive. It's impossibly detailed. It's got texture, atmosphere, environment, all on lockdown. The effects that it displays in the various wakes of destruction it creates have been refined since 2009. The Arkham games are in a class of their own visually. There is nothing like it. It feels like playing action figures, and in an odd way it kind of looks like it as well, but in such a slick, beautiful way. Coming soon is the next massive leap in graphics, the next benchmark for Xbox players, the next gorgeous display of destruction that, from what I've seen, has actually given Halo much more of its own look than even its creators managed to do. Halo now has an extremely vivid color palette filled with reds, blues, greens, yellows, everything. It's all here. And the environments have this strange organic look to them, but yet very metallic. I'm excited. It looks amazing. But probably the absolute most exciting looking game is next year's Quantum Break. This game does not look like anything I have seen on the Xbox yet. It looks like such a ridiculous combination of surrealism and realism that I'm gonna be honest, I'm excited about this game on graphics alone. Like I said with Ryse, this game could be so-so, and just the utter uniqueness and beauty of its graphics would make it worth playing. Now, if you enjoyed this journey of the various stages of Xbox's graphics, please click the like button. Also, if you're new around here, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We upload new videos every single day, and you don't want to miss them. As a subscriber, you will see them first. Such are the benefits of a Gameranx subscription. Don't forget to leave a comment talking about your favorite of these games, and if we missed anything. We're always extremely interested in a discussion. Thanks so much for watching, and we will see you next time.